Riley was born on June 7, 1995. He was the third child of a very quickly growing family. His sister was 3 and his brother 1.5. All 3 kids were very sweet and became best friends. When the kids were still pretty young, his mom and dad split up and the kids were living a divided life. They were so young and resilient, though, that it didn't seem to take a toll at all. Life took a tragic turn in 1996 when his older brother was killed in an accident. This accident would turn their family upside down. Grieving the loss of a child is more than anyone should have to bear, and this family dealt with it to the best of their ability. Who knew that one day we would all have to go through this grief again? The kids went from having shared time with their parents to really being with one or the other for longer lengths of time. He and his sister spent a lot of time trying to make each other happy. Sometimes they would take advantage of the elusive Eureka summer day and ride their bikes to the nearby market to buy candy bars. They would take their candy bars to the playground close to their house. There they would sit listening to the birds chirping and talk about what their future would be like. We spent as much time with them as we could. We opened our home to them whenever they needed it. We were very close with Riley and his big sister, Brooke. Brooke would come over regularly to hang out with my daughter, who was only 2 months older than she was. She would even travel with us, like when we went to Seattle. They would cook together, sing silly songs, and just enjoy being cousins and friends. Riley was younger than my oldest son, but older than my youngest son, so his relationship with my kids was different. We invited him along often, and as he grew into his teenage years, Riley was quietly funny. One time, our families went camping at Lassen together. My husband took the kids to hike the mountain. Trees became sparser as they climbed, but for a while they saw several chipmunks. Riley gave each one its own name, and they hiked on. They finally arrived at the top, and Riley started looking for a bathroom. Not only was there not one there, but there also weren't any trees a boy could hide behind. He made his way quickly down the mountain and was literally relieved when he came across trees. My husband is a fireman and he got the kids involved in a mass casualty drill. Riley hammed it up. He loved acting like he was dying and exaggerated his performance. He even got his name in the paper and loved his fame. Eventually, he joined the Army. I loved following his life on Facebook. He always looked like he was having such a great time with his Army buddies. When he came home on leave, he would always come visit. He and I had a baseball rivalry. He was a Giants fan, and I am an A's fan. The last time he visited, our teams were playing each other. The Giants were having a better season than the A's, so Riley was pretty confident in his team getting a win. I was hopeful because, record aside, the A's typically beat the Giants. This time was no different. My A's beat his Giants, and he was a great sport about it. It was during this visit that Riley connected with my younger son. Now that Ross was 17, the 4-year difference meant less than it did when they were younger. Riley decided he was taking Ross to see Jurassic World. After the movie, they came back to the house and played video games. Riley showed Ross some MREs that he had in his truck that he shared with him. Ross now looks back at that day with a special. Our lives changed forever on March 28, 2017, when we found out Riley was missing. We desperately prayed and hoped and couldn't possibly imagine where he might have gone. On day 2, I sent him a text. It said, obviously everyone else would have tried to text you already, but I had to text you too. It still sits on my phone stating, sent as text message, but with no reply. On day 3, the Giants were playing the A's again. I sobbed, wanting him to be with me and watch the game. When the Giants won, I silently sent a message to Riley that I wanted him to call me and harass me. On day 4, I saw a news article from Texas that a young man's body had been found in his truck in the desert. I didn't want it to be him. I went to sleep crying and hoping it wasn't him. When my phone rang the next morning, I didn't want to answer it. I knew what was going to be said to me, and I didn't want to hear it because it would mean it was real. I answered. He was gone and had taken his own life. I would like to say this took a long time for me to get over, but that would imply I've been able to successfully process the loss and the deep sadness he had been hiding from us for far too long for him to bear it. In the end, I have to believe he was finally free. After all, when the Giants won that series against the A's, all I could do was look up to the clouds and say, well, he has been gone for almost a year now, and I still go to his Facebook page sometimes. I don't know exactly why I go to the search bar and type in his name, but it is some connection with one who is really important to me. His friends and loved ones continue to post there as if he can hear us. We know he won't respond, but just have to hold on to the fact that somehow he is still listening.